Yeah, I have several questions. So, about this large percentage dollar amount in special ed, some of it, when you're gonna do the multi-year projections, will not repeat itself. For example, mediation, so
Correct.
I'm assuming that that's
Not
just this
in
year.
there. I took out the settlement, I included the bus lease, because it's a 7-year lease, I included the aid.
So that's gonna go down, it's not gonna be 18,000 every year.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is gonna be-
It's a 7-year bus lease.
Oh, okay,
So
so
every
it is
year
gonna be
you're
18.
yeah.
I thought maybe it was gonna diminish or
No,
something.
but
Okay.
it's just like your car payment, it's the same every year, so I'm gonna budget that, it'll be there for 7 years.
So let me ask you,
We do own it at the end.
that's good. Let me ask a question then about,
And I'm sorry, and the 89,000 is in there, but it's gonna be less. I didn't budget that 89, and I didn't budget it because we're having 4 kids age out of that program. So that was about the same cost of that, well, I had to add for this year because we had 4 kids enter it. So for the next year, I took it out. So you'll see some and you won't see others.
because I don't want people to get the impression that this is like, we're talking about fault here. And I don't want people to get the
Oh, no.
impression that this is like an enormous amount of money that's like just come out of nowhere that we're being asked to fund.
They're
you know,
mostly moving.
for special.
It's moving, the aids,
Okay.
the class, it's IEP driven. The classified aids where we had 4 kids come in or their IEP change, were mandated. It's a
Okay.
federal mandate to do the program, we had to. It's not like we can choose, oh, this year we're not gonna do it, we had to do it.
So this goes beyond what the federal funds are, the federal revenues that
Oh,
we're
the
getting.
federal funds
Okay,
aren't
well, I
even
know.
You know.
they're a drop in the bucket of special ed.
Oh, Pauline, sorry to refrain, you learned long ago that we don't talk about approaches, we
Yeah,
talk about how much
I
it
know.
costs to educate a child.
Right, well, I mean, that's one of the,
I did not carry the maintenance and operations additional 100,000. I did not carry that forward into the next phase because I'm going on the assumption that we're gonna have another day by then or we're gonna start, so I did not. Time will tell. We'll decide when we get into there whether
so
we.
when you do the multi-year projections,
I did
so
not
this-
include the 100,000.
Okay.
I included the 86,000 for the staffing changes unless we do something in the multi-year projection with staffing cuts. I put in who's retiring, you know, so any ongoing costs I kept, any cost that was one time or people aging out or things like that, I took out. And remember, when I do this multi-year projection and when I do the March one, it's not the detailed budget one. It's more 30,000 foot level where I'm looking at this spreadsheet. It's not until I roll the budget in March. Is actually when we physically roll every line on. Remember, we have like over 9,000 line items, account lines. We roll them and go through each one. Laura and LaDonna go through each one of budget. So I'm taking these spreadsheets and doing our best to say, here's ongoing, here's not, because we don't have a model system where we can run those 2 budgets together. You know, so
I have another question.
it will
too.
change, I guess is what I'm
Okay,
saying.
but it sounds like even if it changes, like you're saying,
I try to do my
that's
best.
not gonna be,
It should not be a swing because I look at it,
Generous.
I look at everything, and do my best to say what is ongoing and what is one time.
So this is a question that I guess Hank made me think about, which is relative to those changes in the contributions that we have to make for, salaries.
Classified and certificate.
Right, so that isn't reflected in this, that's gonna be reflected in the multi-year.
Well, it's reflected this year, but a very small increase compared to last year, and a huge increase next year compared to this year, and then it's pretty flat after that, right? The increases after next year are pretty flat for five years or so.
Are you talking about enrollment or are you
No.
talking
No,
about?
no, we're talking
No,
about
it's
the,
retirement.
right,
You're talking about
No.
retirement costs, is that what you're talking about?
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah, that's
talking
what I
about,
thought,
right, I'm talking about the contributions that
contributions
we
to
have to make
retirement.
as employers.
Contributions
Yeah.
to retirement.
Oh, you're talking about
Yes.
FERS, okay.
Stars and
Yes,
birds,
right.
both.
Yes, in this budget, we increased, I think 100,000 for certificated and a small amount for classified. For next year, it's costing us, between the two, about $200,000.
So that cost is gonna go up, that's what I'm.
And it's about 200,000 every year.
Okay, okay, okay.
Each of the
So that's, I mean, that's why even the multi-year projection
Oh, yeah.
is still going to be, for lack of a better word, still kind of dismal.
15, 16, you're
Yes,
seeing an
right.
increase of costs.
Okay.
For 200,000 for, retirement costs for PERS and STRS. You're seeing 100,000 costs because the county stopped their ROP program and put that on us, saying it's now funded in the LCFF. We're trying, so.
So that means the
They
teacher
phased-
salaries,
They phased us
the teacher
in,
salaries are ROP?
they phased us in,
Or out.
or out, yeah, where it phased us into LCFF, but our LCFF timing is different from everybody else in the county, so we're struggling with that, so you're seeing an increased cost for that. That's why the number is so large, that you guys haven't seen, that I have seen, so large for
And you will have to see.
Yeah.
Actually,
Because I can leave the December meeting before it's
Yes.
revealed.
I
Right.
just
minutes
think,
and gone.
yeah, I just think that, you know, having this meeting like, or this information presented to us today, as Rikki said, is a good thing. Because I think there's a mistaken impression in the community that we have all this money that we just haven't been able to utilize wisely, and that's not the case at all. The case is that there are these additional, costs that we're having to take on as a school district, either because the state isn't willing to do it, federal government isn't willing to do it, the
County.
county isn't willing to do it, and so more and more financial responsibility is coming to every district, including ours, so it's like you said, it's a perfect storm.
It is.
So even though the J passed, which is great and wonderful, that doesn't mean there aren't other things that need to be,
It will alleviate a small percentage of the budget. Let's just take the number, $160,000 has been in the maintenance line item for however many years. This year, it dissipated by December. Okay, so now it's 260 or so. And don't think for a minute that when Measure J comes, we can just eliminate that line item. No, right? But I do think it can be reduced. I don't know, can't give you a number right now, but it'll be reduced to those projects that fit that line item and don't fit the project list that we've had tentatively, right, in the draft form, sent it all out, you've all seen the top 5, for instance, projects in your school, but that has to be worked on for tens of hours. Staff, board, Citizens Oversight Committee, et cetera, and so, yes, the future of facilities expenditures is way brighter than the last 10 years. That, as I said, though, is essentially almost discrete from what we're talking about here, right? So again, good point, good message, make sure people get that discrete thing, because it's completely, almost completely discrete.
thank you.
Yeah, just, I wanted to mention, I had asked Danny about qualifying some of these funds for Measure J, and I think the answer is it's very complicated. So I think over the course of the next, well, the timing is the issue.
Part of the
The
complex.
timing is the issue and also the qualification of the projects. And so over the course of the next few months, we'll see. Hopefully, we can benefit this year, likely we'll benefit in the coming years.
For sure.
Well, I guess we noticed that the cafeteria fund did not require a transfer.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
So we have got to catch Suzanne being good.
Yes,
And
that's a good point.
Way
That-
good, way
We
good.
were
for
happy,
10%.
remember, we projected her to need $25,000.
I
She
remember
didn't
that.
need
Yes,
anything?
She did not need it by the time we closed the books, and she was positive and able to we were projecting this year not to have, increase.
Well, you
Let
tell
me
her
take-
that I
let me take the
personally
liberty.
think her.
We take the liberty of saying what we said a couple times about that. So before I came, 2 years before I came, or so, 2-3 years, she inherited a fund that was $150,000
Yes, we know.
in the red,
Yes.
and got it to 1 year, 25 in the black,
Right.
worked back to 0.
She worked it all the way, wasn't it all the way
It
to
was
like?
25
It
in the
was
black.
a black
She
hole.
contributed,
She contributed,
contributed
she got it
25,000.
one down.
Certificate to
60,
classified
I think.
staffing.
Yeah.
classified staffing, so there you go.
And some of those retirements that happen in her department would be good for, because they're long-term employees, you're losing the history, but now you have new people, so the staffing, it's a definite gain for her.
And let's make sure that she knows that
Yes,
we
please.
perfectly
that we
good.
will.
Yeah.
And Paul Pauline says especially.
I recently,
Okay,
was
Pauline.
discussing, I
He's
met,
well talented.
and we don't see very many new parents around, but I do have some people I know at work that are new parents. So there's this new way that you catch your kid being good,
Yeah.
and you put a check mark, just with your finger, a check mark on their hand. And they love it, like a 2-year-old. So you put, so tell Suzanne you
That
put
goes
a
back to
check
the,
mark on
1-minute
her.
manager.
With
1-minute
an pen,
manager.
or you just
Just
do
your
it?
finger.
Oh.
Just go
I think
like
if I
that.
did that to my director, they'd look at me funny.
Yeah. I know. The little boy came up to his mom after dinner and put a check mark on her hand, and she said, "What's that for?" And he said, "Thanks for making me dinner. You did a good job."
Oh,
So
there you go.
I like
tell
the way that
Suzanne, we
Yes.
are
She does
all
lots of
about that.
Good for her.
Item 7.5.2.
One.
Oh, okay, I'm
One.
sorry.
One.
7.5.
Okay, so 7.5.1 is amazingly short. Okay, this is, thank you, Rikki, for contributing to the fact that we have an agenda item. Okay, there you go.
Always glad.
Okay, so we had a book, I just saw a book, I didn't bring mine, but somebody, one of you brought the policy book, thank you. Okay, so we had the policy book, which takes us back, wish I could say that this said 2014, but we're not quite there yet. But we're through October 2013, way better than when you all came on board, where you were years behind. So we're a little behind from the perfect timing of maybe the last year or two, but we'll catch up. So the next set of policies will take us into 2014, but the only specific change that came out of the conversation at the October board meeting was the addition of, let's call that 2 words since there's a slash, okay, non-religious and or non-sectarian, right? Right here, this one here, in your agenda. Okay, 7.5.1.
7.1.
The only change is in E 0420.41A, charter school oversight, and we just wanted to be a little clearer about, but, well, you all remember the conversation. Okay? So, right, so now we've decided that non-religious and or non-sectarian, for anybody who has a definition of one or both, we've now covered the waterfront, right? Okay, so I recommend that you approve these 2 policy updates, August 2013, October 2013, with this one change. That's my recommendation.
Do we have a motion?
I move approval of the updated policies.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
None opposed?
I'm voting no.
Okay.
Was there?
Or no?
No, I'm.
Oh, you
Oh,
are?
you said that before.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
You did last
It's
month, I
nothing new.
remember.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
we're here for
Who
that.
was, I don't remember.
Oh, I don't know. What is it? Well, maybe you can tell me later.
Item 7.5.2, election results, including Measure J and the board member elections.
Okay, well, for obvious reasons, Kathy and I felt that this was an important item to note, mostly Kathy with a Y, for minutes purposes, but since everybody knows the results. But I just want to say a couple of things. First of all, I want to focus primarily on Measure J. And if someone had asked me in late June of 2014, when this board approved the $35 million concept, and asked me whether I thought we'd pass, honestly, I would have said yes. I did think we'd pass it, for lots of reasons. I thought it had great merit. The infrastructure was in dire straits, you all know that. Then if someone had asked me to predict a number, percentage yes vote, I've told a couple of people I would have been around 60%. I did not think that we'd be over 2/3, just because I didn't. Now, it turns out that this was a good year for Ventura County bond issue results, because they were also between 66 and 69, we were well on the higher end, but good for Briggs and good for Rio and good for Dannielle and good for all that. So much was done by so many people. However, as usual, there are a few people who stand above the crowd. And so this board and superintendent and assistant superintendent would like to ask the president to make a little presentation, if you will. So would you please get something, okay, outside the door. This is like Academy Awards.
Kathi Smith, you are appreciated very
very greatly for your work on the Measure J committee, the Save Our Ojai Schools, and we would like you to have these lovely flowers. She would like to
No, we're not
share
sharing.
with you.
And so a few of us know, I said to Kathy earlier today, that I'm not sure between late August and election day where Kathy with a Y spent more time, either working with me or working with the campaign committee, but it was pretty close. It was pretty close. Would you like to say a few words?
Well, first, Rikki's gonna say something,
Oh, yeah.
and then we'll let you recover yourself.
Well, you know, we had a committee meeting, our consultant was in town, and Hank and Kathy, and I attended the meeting, absolutely clear that I was not going to volunteer to be on the committee. Because, you know, first time in a lot of years, I was going to have a campaign, and I certainly was going to have a campaign. I was going to support it, I would do the work, but I wasn't going to have a position. And as we were talking about it, I realized, these are great people, and I want to work with them. And I was excited. And the main person was Kathy. I wanted to work with you in a different way. And working on Measure J was just everything that I had hoped when I said, okay, I'll be the endorsement chair. And we got a volunteer chair who had to step down. We never got another one. Kathy took it up. And anything that extra had to be done, it was Kathy. And she had a daughter get married, you know, in the midst of this. And plus, of course, all the other work. I can't say enough, Kathy. You know, your commitment to this district, to these kids, and I know it started, you know, long ago, and we had, you know, the SOS campaign years back. But it was amazing. It was a great honor. Thank you.
I would just echo those same thoughts back to you and the rest of you. You were always there to support us, and so we're the promise. And you know, and it was successful.
Yes.
So pleased. Thank you so much.
I completely forgot about your daughter. She stepped down for a half a day. I mean, it was like, what, you got married on the weekend, you missed half a Friday,
We
yeah.
couldn't do any phone calls before that.
Yeah, missed half.
That's right.
Good timing on that wedding, that was very well done. So anyhow, you know, the community was terrific. I hope they feel that, you know, it's hard to get a lot of communications out sometimes, but I hope they feel that between Kathy's wonderful letter on behalf of the board, and it's posted on the website, and then Kathy put on all the people who were really front and center in working on Measure J. As we talked among superintendents at the October county meeting, and we talked a little bit about what we were working on. You know, each of the other three had a need, but we really had a need, so it was a great thing to pass. And I thank everybody we'll do it through these minutes again. As far as the election is concerned, you know, one of the things that I wanted to stress, and I've been through, as a superintendent, a lot of elections, a lot of board elections. And one time, in fact, in Illinois, in one of the elections in 1989, we set a record for the number of candidates. We had 19 candidates for 4 spots, and for 3 spots actually. We had 19 candidates. Everybody had their own platform. Stuff was coming in from every left field, right field, stuff I never even knew the school district was involved in. And then some of it was, you know, sort of weird, to be honest with you. And a little bit negative. It wasn't horrible, a little bit negative. As I step away from this election, and I know all but 2 of the candidates are either still here or were here, because I saw William in the back corner, and of course Jane and Mike and Kevin, Pauline, Shelley, Steve. I was so proud, actually, of the quality of discourse, the civility among candidates, I'm thinking particularly about the Leave 'em Win Voters Night and other times. You know, there might have been some crosswords out there that I don't know about, but I can tell you, as I saw it, it was a very high road campaign, and I was really very proud to watch that unfold. So that's really what strikes me most about this election. And everybody, you know, as you would expect with 9 candidates, received support. I think sort of the top 5 or so might have separated themselves a bit from the other 4, but those are just numbers. So obviously, as Kristen is still here, thank you very much. I thought that was a terrific time at the podium, thanking Pauline in particular, and Kathi and Rikki, and of course we'll welcome Kevin and Mike and Jane formally at the December meeting. But to me, the overriding theme of this election was not identifying the negative, because certainly there are tons of things everybody at this table wants to do that we haven't been able to do. And there are tons of things that the new board members will want to do, some of which we might be able to do, some of which might not cost money, those of which that do cost money are going to be debatable. But I think that the Ojai community should be really very proud of the way the campaign was run. And I can tell you, because I don't think anybody knows any more about campaigns at this table or in this room than I do, because I've seen it all, from just diatribes, ad hominem diatribes, one candidate to another, to like, was there an election? And we were in the good part of that continuum, really good part. Okay, and so that's what I want to share about my question.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, and I know we do have some candidates and some board members, new board members here. Nobody turned in a public statement card, so I guess you don't want to speak, although I can see Steve Weed is just busting at the seams with a few final words.
I just think that my heritage is German, but I'm so Italian, you can read my face. No, I thought I should get up, but I thought that would be great. I would echo what Christine said. The quality of the outgoing board members has been excellent. There's no way that you can worry about your legacy. You've all contributed a lot of things to the board, so it has its own reward.
It's going to have to, won't it? Did any of the other candidates, Shelley, did you have anything you wanted to say while you're here?
No.
And did any of the new board members have anything they wanted to say?
I would like to echo, of course, thank all of you who are leaving. You guys did a great job, and you, as Steve said, unfortunately, the reward has to have been in the work. We really do appreciate it, all of you.
Jane, did you have anything? Mike?
I think I would echo that. From everything I've seen as I've gotten deeper into all of this, the work has been incredible, and the challenges even more so, and the rabbits that you've been pulling out of the hats over the last few years have been pretty remarkable. And so, I think you're handing us off a district that's in much better shape from the last few years. And, we're just hopeful, I think, that we can continue that.
Thank you all for being here and for the contribution that you made during the election. And Pauline, I wanted everyone to hear the email that I sent you on the morning of November 5th. When I was, at VCSBA, we lost 2 incumbents from districts in the Oxnard Plain who lost their re-elections as well, and they are on the board of the VCSBA, so we were casting about for new people at the last dinner because Anna Del Rio Barba was going to be the VP for programs, and she was voted out, and she's a delegate, and Darlene Bruno is a delegate to CSBA, and she was also voted out. Chuck Weiss is in.
Chuck Weiss?
Chuck Weiss
Really?
is on the board of the Wainini Elementary School District. Pauline, you have been a valuable board voice for accountability on issues like English language learners, special education students, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, You've always spoken your mind in board discussions. I've always felt I knew where you stood, and I could trust you because of that. Even when we didn't vote together, I have always respected you because you are your own person and you showed the integrity to say what you think. I also always felt that you had insight into a segment of our workforce that's not always satisfied with what's going on in the Ojai Unified. So accountability will be your legacy.
Thank you, I think I heard that.
Yes, you did. I think we all wish you all the best in your career as an academic at Cal State, and we wish you and your family much happiness.
Thank you. Yeah, I retired in December.
Oh, no!
I did not know that.
I wanted to be one of those.
What is coming
Yeah,
up?
those people,
That's
so
what-
they didn't plan for it.
But they didn't plan
That's a
for it.
little bigger that's a little bigger district, they can
Wow.
probably handle it.
Yeah, all right. So that's that. Item 7.5.3, selection of the date for the annual organizational meeting of the government.
So I've shared, and Kathy has shared, together we've shared, with the 5 members, and we'll be in these chairs for 95% or so of that meeting. But just to remind everybody, the present board sits to approve the minutes of this meeting and then move on. However, in addition to that, and Kathy certainly knows this, as do others, at 5 o'clock in this room, we will be having a celebration honoring Pauline and Kathy and Rikki, to which people will be invited, obviously staff and family, friends of the board members, and not real elaborate, didn't want that, but certainly something that we think is appropriate, and with appropriate recognition, I certainly will be speaking, and perhaps a few others. So 5 o'clock in this room, and then we'll go on to the regular meeting. Just so nobody thinks that we just did this sort of capriciously, we really worked hard on some alternative dates, potentially recognizing that one of the issues that emerged during the campaign was this communications and as little or none of conflicts, no conflicts between city council meeting dates and ours. In this particular case, this meeting was set a year ago. We looked for other dates, but this December 9th meeting, which is a city council meeting date, also is I'm recommending we move ahead. I can also tell you that one of the agenda items on December 9th will be a presentation of 2015 meeting dates. We've been able to avoid any conflicts with the city council. We do have to work with, obviously, through the board members to find out what their availabilities are. But in any case, we can work around those 2nd and 4th city council meeting dates quite well. But anyway, this one, December 9th, the recommendation is that we have both the regular December board meeting, and then embedded in that is the organizational meeting where we have officers elected and set the calendar dates for 2015. So that's my recommendation.
Do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? So just to put the idea in the new board members' heads, a board member that we had historically in the past, Vince France, used to pride himself at moving very quickly through the agendas and having very efficiently run meetings. Some might have called it a rocket docket. And so it is entirely possible that the December 9th meeting will be concluded by 5 till 7, and you can scurry on over to City Hall and make
I
a
think so.
splash.
I have them think about it.
And you have 2 more single plans,
And-
but you could do
Oh
small
yeah, well,
schools.
for that, no, we have 3. We're gonna have 3 of them. So 3 in December, 3 in January. No, this will not be
Ah,
short.
it's not
The
gonna
number,
happen, sorry.
no policy.
Sorry, folks.
Those are
No
great.
policies,
Yeah.
no policies.
Okay, yeah, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? 7.5.4, superintendent's report.
Okay, well, without question, obviously, the most important thing that happened between the October board meeting and tonight is what I just talked about. And obviously, you know how much I don't like being redundant. So, Measure J was crucial to the district, present, future, for decade or decades. Danny Danny has this theory, it's just a number, but it's a pretty good theory, that we should do these bond issues better than 15 years, so we didn't miss by much, right? Only missed by 2, that's pretty good, so, 97, 2012, 2014. So for those of you all who might be around in about 2029 or so, just remember what Danny said, that we need another bond issue. Crucial, and I reported on the election. So as a superintendent, making a superintendent's report, in those even numbered years where there are always elections and maybe a vote consequence, that's the main thing to report on. I will also tell you that, and I missed that meeting on JPA. Danny was able to cover that for me well, but we had some just, I know Kevin and I was there, super exciting CIF competition. And all I have to tell you, again, part of my life was I was just as a coach, but supervising principals and supervised ADs. Just so you know, part of the way California works is if you do really well, they penalize you by putting you into a tougher league. All right, so not only did they do that to us because we did well, which is okay, but then they bumped us up another couple of categories. So literally, we were playing teams in schools that were 3 times our size, in football and in girls volleyball. And just so I'm pretty excited about this. Obviously, we held this 2,400 student school that played in 3 divisions up from us to a 1 touchdown game in football. And in volleyball, we beat a team 3 times our size to get to the next level, next competition, and then played a team also 3 times our size. It was undefeated, and it lost 6 games the whole year. Had 2 girls taller than I am, and
You have to make clear what a game is in volleyball, though. That's
what,
not the
you have to
match.
win a game. They lost 6 games. You have to win 3 games to win a match. They lost 6 games. They were 22-0. They beat us in the first game, sort of 25, 18, 17, 18. Second game, we beat them worse than that. They had never lost like that ever. And then we were ahead in the 3rd game, and we just couldn't hold it. They beat us in the 3rd game, beat us in the 4th game. But I tell you what our coaches get out of the relatively small group of boys and girls from whom we can choose. It's amazing. It's amazing. All right, which reminds me, we also had an exciting thing happen. It's so exciting that I found out it's the first time in 15 years or so, we actually had a Division I signee in baseball, Cody Deason, who is a legitimate upper round Major League Baseball draftee. Legitimate. And he throws, if you follow baseball, he throws in the low 90s. Miles per hour. So he is a legit. Anyway, so there was if you saw what I thought I'd do is he was there holding up the piece of paper. So, there's certain elements. We're not great in all sports, okay, and some not really great in others. But sometimes when we play these bigger schools, it just shocks me. I mean, if you go back a couple of years, we played 5 games in a row, 2 years in a row in football, and we never played a school under 2,000 kids, We beat Ventura, they wouldn't play us again. I mean, it was just
That's
amazing.
sweet.
It was, yeah, because Ventura's really good now, so I'm glad they didn't play it. But anyhow, and the good news, just to finish the story, if we had won the game, if we had won the football game, we would have played Lompoc again. Now, I'm really tired of Lompoc. Okay? 4 years ago, they beat us by 5 touchdowns. This year, they beat us by 5 touchdowns. I don't want to see Lompoc again. And I told Except we might have to go up there next year because you play home and home.
I went on the bus up there.
I'm trying to get a tearing up of the contract. Okay, that's enough.
All right, great. 7.5.5, items for future agendas.
No fair now, don't start
No,
pushing all
Diane?
Reading the single plans for student achievement, I was really impressed with how many volunteer groups we have that work with our students, and now there's a new one being created. I hope we are able to have some kind of event where we really honor.
Recognize?
Yeah, we
We
recognize.
can do it again. Remember, we did it last school year,
yeah.
and I talked to the principals, and they said, if you do it every year, then you just sort of lose. Every other year, we want to do it again in the spring of 2015.
It just is amazing to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just think it's for us, for the
Well,
board to recognize.
Okay, we're volunteer of the year, right? We're volunteer of the year. So, you know, we want to do that, so it's not sort of all that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it, yeah.
Anybody else?
I do just quickly, this existing board means a lot to me for a lot of different reasons. And it's very special. I'm excited about the new board coming in. One of the first things I learned that this board taught me was to follow the Brown Act. And so I think it might be helpful. I think it'd be great for everybody to read and make sure, but it might be good.
This Friday they're getting it.
Okay, great. But maybe something very brief just on the points that we need.
Well, in fact, I do my presentation
Yeah.
on the Brown Act, and I
At the
forgot, that was,
organization.
actually, I was saving that, that's the big one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not,
No, that's
I,
perfect.
actually, that reminds me though, I would commend to the new board, a board retreat kind of thing where we do the protocols.
That was part two.
Okay, good. You finished that.
No, go ahead.
and we have, that's part of what they'll be
Yeah,
getting.
I've mentioned it to a couple of them individually, the protocol.
You know what's interesting about that, thank you for that.
You need that sooner rather than later.
Absolutely, in fact, we haven't had a retreat because we haven't had, other than yourself, any new board members. And I was the only new person. Okay, so when I came in August 2009, in November/December 2009, remember we met with one of the two consultants who did the search, and from that came the board superintendent protocols, which are on the website. We'll print them out. And I actually talked with someone today, a candidate for a person who would lead a retreat. Okay, and I'll be presenting to the board at least two, hopefully three options for different kinds of backgrounds of these facilitators. And he was really excited that we had those in place.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I can tell you just briefly on that, when OEF had a resurgence about 7 or 8 years ago, it was doing very little and then it just took off gangbusters. And a big reason for that was that we got together with a retreat and got organized and went off. And I think that that could do us a lot of good.
Excellent, yeah, right. All right, item 8, the consent calendar.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed?
Just as you move on, note at the very end that contribution from OEF, twofold. One, the 15,000 ends the 95,000. That's the last 15 of the 95, okay? And the 20,400 is the new venture, right? That we saw within the arts, right? So it's the first, sort of the first payment into the arts focus for, I'll bet, 4 years or so, which is one our term. Sure, yeah.
Because when I heard the arts, I kind of assumed all the arts. So is the plan to do like music this year and then visual arts?
Well, we know that there are 4 parts of the arts, right?
Now we do.
Okay. Just, we know that. Well, my plan, my preference is not, my preference as a board member. Number one, I'm thrilled with the new effort. Okay, let's talk about just this brief history. So when I came, the last year of 4 years of elementary 5th grade science, right, was 2009-10 year. Then we sort of arm wrestled a little bit nicely over the new focus, which became technology. And 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, so that's 4 years. I suspect that this arts will be the first of 4 years, which doesn't mean we'll do one each year, one area each year. But it absolutely will not be just music. It will not be. It just turns out that, remember, when you fund 20,400, unless that 20,400 repeats, right?
The following
Right,
year.
then we have to pick it up ourselves, which we know we really can't afford to do. So,
We
but
don't want to be canceling a program after 1 year.
no, we're not. But just the good news is 20,400 is way on the low end of the contributions, which typically have been in the 70,000 range or so. They're being conservative right now to see what kind of fund balance is available at OEF, but I'm confident that that will continue and more, maybe more elementary music, we'll see. We have big need there, right? Because we only have we're only paying for 1 day, right? This is the second day. The see how it goes, maybe a third day, that would be another 15,000 or so, a little less than that. And then we need to talk about, for instance, for example, elementary art.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, our elementary art is art show, right? We don't pay for it.
Nothing wrong
It's a great program.
No, art
No,
is
no,
great.
it's a great program, but we don't pay for a certificate person. Nor, and it was nice for John to say we kept drama, but it's really only one class. Okay, it's one section in high school.
Very big.
They were very nice. See how far we came over 18 months? Okay. And then, you know, the last piece stands, even there, you know, I mean, every year we have 30 girls easily who could be a third class, and we fund two. Right now, we made some headway this year, you know, by bringing in the expert to help him. So we have, again, not surprising, we have a need in all four genres, but 20,400 is very much on the low end, so I think we can make progress. Okay.
Meeting adjourned.